Hey everyone, hello. Welcome to the stream, friends and newcomers alike. My name is Douglas and today I'm gonna be working on, oh, you guessed it, the final page of my comic called Call Me Father. And let's get to it without further ado. So as you can see, I have already been throwing in some things here and there to it. Not a whole lot, just enough to set everything in place. And what do we have here? A new window. Would you look at that? It's the preview for today's page. It will be there in the corner in case you guys wanna check it out as we work on it. I'm gonna make a copy of the scan and delete the text because, as you guys know, the text can be a big old spoiler as far as things are concerned. So there, we don't have spoilers anymore. And also, hey Sam, welcome to the stream. You ask, how am I doing today? Today I'm doing pretty good. Slightly tired. I have spent part of the morning, if not all of it, doing light exercises, which is fun, but it's barely noon. I mean, it is 1 in the afternoon, so it is past noon. But anyway, the day is halfway through, and I have already done quite a lot of exercising. So now is the time to take it easy, and for now, just enjoy some casual drawing with casual or not so casual conversation topics, and slightly less casual talking animal people.
So sexy.
What I'm gonna do in this frame here is reverse it. Ethan is looking towards the left, which is better composition wise. Or is it? Because the idea is for him to be looking at the phone, so I guess I'll reverse it again. Because the phone comes in this side. As usual, you have to think about these things pretty thoroughly before you start throwing in random shenanigans at your drawings. Because if you go back to the last few pages, you will see that our character, Nathan, was holding the phone with one very specific hand, being his left hand. So I have to keep that little fashion going on throughout the rest of the pages. Can't simply randomly change which hand he's holding the phone with. Life does not work like that. I mean, it can work like that, but it doesn't change a whole lot about the narration and the storytelling elements. But it's something you'll probably not want to keep switching up every other minute. And Sam say, that's nice to know, and good afternoon to you too. And I saw your message. Beside that, you had a test today. It went pretty good. Oh, congratulations. Sad to hear about what happened, but happy to know that you're performing good in your tests. And you asked another question, and for that question I don't have an answer. It's not the question. You do ask a third party.
Girl, you gonna make me put this mic down
In short, what I mean to say is I can't answer for anybody else. So now, once again, we didn't learn this last week, so let's do this again. Hands galore, holding phones, or rather very small. This geometrical shape has a name, but I forgot the name, or rather, I don't think I ever learned what this geometrical shape is called in English. This shoebox kind of shape, it has a name. It's not a cube because one of the sides is elongated, but it's like an elongated cube, one of the sides. So that's the shape I'm going to be doing. Just throwing in some not random, just some touch-ups on this page because I did the sketches I did the layout sketching for this page yesterday, but I didn't get around to finishing the whole sketch. I wanted to come in here today with something ready already, but I guess part of the fun is working from scratch, so you guys can follow my train of thought into what the hell was going on in my mind as I decided to do the things I do. Sam say you see, well, your holiday is starting, so you will be seeing my entire stream tomorrow. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. Forgot what holiday it is. I think it is Military Day. And for circumstances, it applies to you. So now, this is a thing I do very often. Instead of going to the next part of the problem, the issue, the conundrum, I keep giving touch-ups to parts that don't require a whole lot of touch-ups. This is a very odd behavior. It doesn't really hinders you too much because giving touch-ups is mostly always a good thing, creative work-wise. However, you don't want to be doing touch-ups to avoid working on other parts of your comic or your work. So do know when it is okay to give touch-ups, but don't postpone the necessary bits of your work to keep doing touch-ups. Anyway, Sam, you say yeah, it is Military Day, school holiday only. And also Elvin Lowe, hey to you too, and welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? This lovely Wednesday, full of, well, I don't know for you guys, but here I have a very sunny day. In a very good temperature, even. It is not raining, it's not a scorching sun, it is pretty refreshing, in fact. It is a good weather we are having here. And not only that, but it has been a month or week so far of very good weather, which is always appreciated, because summer that just ended was not very pleasant weather-wise. I'm glad to have some good weather days once again. And Alvin Lowe, you were doing okay. It's snowy over there. It is turning to autumn or fall for you guys up there in the northern hemisphere, so I guess it's going to get even snowier with time, is it? Or no, it just winter for you guys just ended, so now it's springtime. Time for the bees, the pollen, all the good natured things to come out of its hiding spot and grace you guys with its sunny days. And Trevor Sack, you are in Michigan, and it was 70 a few days ago. Then we immediately got snow. I have no earthly idea how much is 70 degrees Fahrenheit, because we use Celsius. But I'm gonna guess that's cold. I feel like that's cold. So once again I did hands that are not good. Let's redo them. Starting with the whole hand this time. I want the palm of the hand to be there. So the thumb can be here holding the phone, the back side of the phone, and then the other fingers can be there. Lovely. And Sam, regional variants. Douglas, pick a region from Brazil and you will talk a little trivia about it. Well then. Why? I mean, sure. Talk to us a little bit, some trivia about I don't know. You pick a region, go nuts. And Trevor Sack, oh for sure, around 26 degrees. Oh, that sounds like a chill temperature. I mean, it isn't super chill, but it's not scorching hot either. It's a very pleasant temperature, it would seem to me, or very close to an actually pleasant temperature. But then there came the snow and ruined it all. Sorry to hear so. And even though it's actually supposed to be spring over there. And Trevor Sack, I consider it great, except the day after it was -3 degrees. Well, that's a very drastic weather change. Is that normal for the temperature over there to change that drastically, or that never happens? Has never happened before, or does not happen often? So, once again, I forgot how hands work. I hope you guys don't mind me throwing weird fingers for some time until I figure hands out again. Which is always sad somehow. But anyway, Alvin Lowe, you live in the northern US, United States. And Sam, the north region of Brazil is the largest but has the least population. But of course it has. A huge portion of it is pretty much plant life. I mean, forests and jungles and whatnot. And the other part is desert-ish. But in any case, Sam, if you want to go see facts and trivia, go through a little Twitter account called WTF Facts. They have really weird and really random facts about the weirdest shit you can think of. But this is all really interesting, and I have no earthly idea if it is true or not. But it is interesting nonetheless. Lots of trivia there. Possibly useless trivia, but trivia nonetheless. Anyway, Trevor Sack, we get the lake effect, almost completely random weather. One day it's summer, next is winter. Oh yes, I have heard of that. It happens over there in Michigan and other places. Surrounded, or rather, very close to a big lake. I guess in Utah the same thing happens. I wouldn't know for sure. But anyway, it does sound harsh nonetheless. And Samuel said while the Southeast is the least wide but holds more population. Which is weird in a way, considering how closer it is to Europe and pretty much the center of all colonization efforts. It's weird that it was the southeast region of Brazil that got the most population, considering it's farther away from Europe and whatnot. But who knows, maybe the weather contributed. We all know the weather has weird effects on civilization developments and other things. And Elvin Lowe says the weather will change rapidly around spring over there. It can go from comfortable to unbearably cold. And this is looking really good, by the way. Why, thank you! By the way, I have no idea what I'm doing. As usual. Whenever it gets to hand, I have a very loose idea of what I'm doing, followed by intuition, followed by a lot of guesswork. You have no idea how much guesswork I'm doing here when I draw hands. Because instead of studying actual hands, I keep thinking in some ways like, how logical it is for this hand or these fingers to make these motions in this way, and visually and logically, how does it look? Does it work? Does it not work? What's up with that? And through this, I follow on or stop altogether on my hand/finger drawing attempts. But it is humongously big, so I have to reduce its size, spin it a little bit, and approach it to the character's face, so it looks like he is actually talking on the phone. That close should do it. And now let's hide one of the bits, probably his face. Maybe the hand should be slightly more, yeah, like so. Slightly more, well, further up, closer to the ears. Maybe this thing could also be slightly more hidden behind the cell phone, and there we go. It does not look good, but it looks acceptable. which at this point is progress. And some say, well, the south region of Brazil is the only region of Brazil to ever hold a nuclear generator and had it taken out. Huh. I do remember talk about it, but I don't remember anything about it truly. So who knows what's up with it. But then again, I guess a huge portion of the world was like, oh, nuclear power, it is dangerous, but it is power. Until the nuclear accidents happen all over the place and people were like, I guess I don't want that kind of thing happening on my backyard. So everybody decommissioned their own nuclear generators. Anyway, Pups says woof, and woof to you too. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? What is up with you? Lovely Piperino. Speaking of which, how are you doing too, Trevor Sack? I forgot to welcome you to the stream. Maybe I did also forget to say welcome to you, Elvon Law. So, how are the both of you doing? Not the both, all of you, rather, doing in this lovely Wednesday, which is spring up there for you guys? Whereas for me, it is fall. Or autumn, depending on where you are from. So, now I will draw the rest of the body, starting with the shoulders. The most logical place to start this whole thing from is there, the shoulders, and then, I mean, the upper torso, then the shoulders, and from the shoulders I can kind of project where his arm would be going to or coming from, so I can extend his hand into an arm and logically and appropriately place his lower arm and elbow. It falls out of frame, so that's good, which means it's less things for me to draw, which means it's more things for me to not have to worry about. Which is kind of a weird way of saying things. Like, I have more things to not worry about. It's like, this whole part of the drawing that is not gonna fall into the frame, let's not worry about that. It's a weird thing here. But anyway, Sam says that Mr. Nathan is a cute little kitty. Maybe he is. Maybe he is not. Maybe he's actually a very, very, very bad person. Cat person, rather. But who knows? You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. And Pups, you had some extremely fun at all times this morning. Now you're just afterglow. Well then, congratulations to you. As for me, I had exercise, which apparently is good for your body and your mind and your brain and of course your health. Who knows? And oh, my dog Marcus with the 35 bits. Welcome to the stream and thank you so very much for the bits. That lovely wolf bitage is just what I needed. In any case, how are you doing, buddy? How is your lovely Wednesday? April 18th? The Well, how is your April 18th going on so far? And what else the people have said? Chandler says, Dogger boy, kitty boy, big ball of 4, concerned boy, anxious boy, purr. Lots of names there. And Sam says also, Mr. Douglas is a cinnamon roll. How so? And Sam says, Mr. Chandler, you're a cinnamon bun, a level under cinnamon roll. What even are you talking about, Sam? And Elvin Lowe says, boy bad or girl good? No idea. Marcus, it tested Amazon Prime should get your capture card with Switch and stuff to stream from PS4 for God of War on April 20th, which is a couple of days from now. It is so freaking close. Oh boy. But you are still waiting, unlucky. Sorry to hear so, man, but luckily, I would hope, it arrives at least tomorrow or on the 20th. Like, not that far from today. But depends, did you buy these things from your own country or did you buy it from international places? Because if you bought it international, then deep kangaroo, it is gonna take a while for it to reach you, no matter where you live or where you ordered the things from. If you bought it on your own country, then well, you might be in luck. It might be reaching you within a couple of days, which is the day the game releases and the day every fucking body is gonna be playing that game. So who knows? So there we have it, a little concerned cat boy, big cat boy rather, who goes by Nathan. Let's throw in some weird random wiggly lines here and there. At random, every single line has a purpose. These lines are to denotate the seams of the clothes he's wearing, and this is to give the impression of there being a little fur and depth to the fur, the neck fur. And these are his cheeky cheeks, because he has a very fluffy cheeks, this tiger boy. And Marcus says God of War 20 April and rest today. And Sam, you're talking about the cinnamon roll scale. I have no idea what that is. What is that even? And Pop says, what game are we talking about, guys? God of War. Apparently, very barely, but yeah, the new God of War. And Pop says, I need to get it. Marcus, you want to test to stream it? I think I have found out is that streaming games from the PS4 is extremely easier than streaming from the PC, because despite it running at this lowly 30 FPS, it runs pretty smoothly. You don't have to concern yourself with your computer crashing or not being able to handle the game for whatever reason. So it is pretty solid to play games on the PS4, and you don't actually need a capture card. A capture card helps, makes the quality better among other things. However, you don't need a capture card. Your PS4, I think every single PS4 model, it has the, I don't remember what is the name of the thing, but you can use a little function of it that broadcasts your PS4 to your computer. There is a name for that, I don't know what the name is. but it broadcasts your PS4 to the computer, so you can play on your computer pretty much. You plug in a PS4 controller to your computer, you connect to your PlayStation 4, and then you can play on your computer as your PlayStation 4 is turned on somewhere else in the house or in the world. Who knows? There might be a little lag if you're playing not in your house, if you and your PS4 are in different locations. However, it works well enough that so you can play games. And the thing is, since you're broadcasting your PlayStation to your computer, it shows up as a window in your computer, and you can then import that window into OBS and well, broadcast it to Twitch or whatever. So in the end, it is possible to stream without a capture card. Although the quality does not look very good, it might drop a little bit in quality depending on how taxing the game is. So getting a capture card is good for those quality streams, but it is not a necessity. But anyway, what your guys are saying is, Chandler, God of War. Well, that's another way of saying that. And perhaps gonna update my PS4 this weekend. I'm gonna go buy it sometime. Marcus says the thing is, to stream from PS4 is FPS, and you can't react to commentaries without getting out of your menu, or you're put it in and it has a half screen. I don't know why they do it like this. Yeah, if you stream straight out of your PS4, the PS4 native overlay is shit. It really does not work. So I don't even know how they implemented that and said, okay, good to go. There you go, you little scamps, go streaming. Because it doesn't work at all. I mean, it does work, but it is very, very awful. But anyway, so this is a complicated scene to draw, illustrate, or rather visualize, because this is a perspective, as you guys, boys and ladies, can see. Of Nathan going upstairs, a set of stairs, and hell if I know how to draw this. So I will need a perspective ruler. First and foremost though, I'm going to draw this first step of the stair, or this couple of steps, another layer, just so I have a little guide point. So as you can see now, I have a little idea of how spaced I want this whole thing to look. So I have a book here on this kind of angled perspectives, like looking up, down, or down on up, and some other crazy perspectives you guys and boys and girls might want to try and use someday. But I don't want to take out the book just to see how I'll do this, although I should. So I'll try to guess it and see how that goes for me. So I'm assuming I want the third perspective vanishing point to be roughly where my character is stepping, more or less. So let's try and go with that and see how this shit show goes. So this is my first perspective ruler. This is my second perspective. Okay, so this is my first perspective to draw these stair steps. So these lines are going exactly the way I wanted them to be, to be. Now for my second perspective, I want it to be the length of these stairs, these steps. It does not truly matters how they go. It can be very straight, it's all I care. However, now for the last vanishing point, like I said, I probably want it to be where my character is stepping. That's where I want it to be, perhaps. But so now, when I go to my perspective ruler and try to draw, it will look good-ish. Let's try it out. And Marcus, I should really talk more. You do so much mistakes as a streamer and be quiet too often. Also because you concentrate on the game. Marcus, I tried sometimes to speak in English, but you mostly speak in German. And you just wish your capture card had come today. He was about to stream Crash Bandicoot for testing. But he wanted to because he wanted to learn more English. Well, that's a good objective. Improving your spoken language is always your other spoken languages is always good. I don't want more perspectives. You're crazy. And Sam, it looks like it's time for you to go, so see you guys later. Farewell to you all. Sure thing, Sam. I'll be seeing you later if you do show up. And other than that, have an awesome day today at school. And take care of yourself. And try to have fun as well. It is an important step. So, actually, I'm not. I mean, this is the first God of War game in ages. I'm actually excited to play. The first one in ages. I actually do want to play because I'm not that huge of a God of War fan. Mostly because I don't like hack and slash games. However, another game I'm very excited for is I forgot. It's House Flipper. Okay, so this might be necessary. Let's do that instead. Let's make a new layer down here on the first step and make a straight up line there. Make it invisible. That's so I know where the stairs end, mostly. As for height, God only knows how far they are going, these little scamps. But anyway, I'm really excited for House Flipper, which will come out tomorrow. It is a game about renovating houses and then selling them for a higher price. And it's pretty much a visual cleanup simulator meets The Sims meets another game, I forgot its name. But anyway, I don't know anything about the game because it's not available yet, despite looking so much like a early access title. But it looks pretty damn well good. I'm excited to try it out. Unfortunately, like I said, it is not in early access, so I will have to wait for it to release tomorrow, and I do think I will try to stream it. Because like I said, it looks pretty good. I may have made a very elemental mistake in here with this perspective of mine. But anyway, Marcus was also about to stream Persona 5 also to learn English, but everyone told you time is necessary for some event and this makes you unsure to play it, under pressure to make a decision with translation. If you can give me a link here in chat, you got a really simple game that gets you so hard, obsessed factor over 9,000. Okay, notice you had to write it otherwise. What game is it? Just tell me the name, you can look it up later, eventually, out of the streams. And about Persona 5, it's just that some events, some they can take quite some time to happen. Like the beginning of the game is really slow paced, and it takes quite some time. It takes quite some time to get on. It takes some time to get into it, like 2 hours until you're free to do whatever you want. 2 or 3 hours. It takes quite some time. And when you say the name of the game is Agario, I have heard of that. It is not my kind of game. It is too repetitive. It does reminds me of the first stage of Spore, that old Max's game, which was also fun. So let's try this for perspective now. So the idea is that from this perspective I can see the back of the steps, and I'm not entirely sure that this is what I want. It is the perspective that makes the most sense, but still. So I guess the depth, the depth perspective should be more or less there, which will really screw up every sense of direction I had so far. But it can possibly be worth it in the end. So the first step is the only one we get to see the ending of, the backside of, I mean. As for every other step, we cannot. But they go tilting down more and more as it goes. And getting thinner and thinner. Oh, there you go. This looked like a convincing staircase, I think. And Marcus, you start as a ball with others and eat lower balls, you get bigger, and try to eat always lower balls until you get the biggest. Yes, I do know that game. It is fun for a while. I don't know, I can never really get into it. Nathan says hello to you too, Nathan. How are you doing today? And welcome to the stream. Speaking of which, Nathan, you were talking about that little, oh not little, the biggest actually, game, what was it? Indie game developer convention or what? Or what was it? Imagine Dragons or Design Dragons, I think. In any case, there is a game I'm really looking for. It releases tomorrow. House Flipper. It is apparently it is developed. Shit. I forgot what's the point. But anyway, was the finalist of Design Dragons 2017. Maybe you have heard of it. I am really looking forward to play it. It releases tomorrow, so I am an excited boy. Very, very excited to play it. Look at this, it is crazy weird, very twisted, but I like how the perspective of this one thing here is looking. I'm gonna go with this. Aha. And also, Nathan, you just got back from work. So, not only welcome to the stream, but also welcome back home. How was your day so far? And yes, the name of the game is House Flipper. It is a house reformation kind of game. And that is the kind of menial task that other games also employ. But in the case of House Flipper, I do also like the creativity factor. So not only you do have to go and do the menial tasks, but there is also some creative involved. So there is room for you to deliberate on designs and things and make something that is kind of your own for another line. Then again, it's not the kind of game I would play for hours and hours and hours, but it's the kind of game I would like to stream some of these days, or rather very soon, because the game is releasing pretty soon. So now we have it, a staircase. Now all I have to do after closing it all off is working on the character. Now I have to make a bounding box for him in this crazy ass perspective and then draw him climbing up these stairs. It's crazy, crazy stairs. And also for this stairs, I have a little more deliberation I'd like to throw into it, which is this is a kind of a train station staircase, so it doesn't sit right with me that they just have some railings and that's it. Considering how train stations work and how many people of all kinds of ages go through these, it would make more sense if there was more security around it. So I think that not only has to have a railing, but there should also be some kind of under railing, some kind of grid in here between the railing posts to, you know, avoid kids and whatnot from slipping away the other sides and falling down lots of meters high up. But I'll leave that for later. Right now the biggest concern is doing this character, which is Nathan, by the way, our lovely tiger boy. And Nathan says, yes, I heard about this. We have the same distributor as then House Flipper, the Playway company, hopeless publisher. Why so? What did they do? Rather, what did they not do? How are they a hopeless publisher? Let's try this way. So the thing that hinders me here is the perspective. I made the sketch in a certain kind of perspective, but now for the rest, the perspective, oh, it looks wonky. No, let's see how we can do this. And Defago says, hey Douglas, and hello to you too. How are you doing? And also, welcome to the stream. And Nathan says that the Playway company, they suck in promotion and they are really bad with talking with people from the trade. That is always a bad thing, really. From the way you talk, it seems like you have had very personal experiences with them already. Okay, so now, well, we can. I'll do a little pseudo T-pose for the arms. Just get an idea of how they extend and what is their perspective. Okay, so now with this bounding box in place, I think I can start to work on this character, the head and everything else. So let's make this layer a little bit less opaque and start with sketching. Hooray! Always the fun part. And Defago, you're doing good. Just get ready for bed in an hour or so. Oh wow, it's already time for bed over there. Over here it's 2 in the afternoon yet, still. So it is pretty early in here. But nonetheless, welcome nonetheless. Wow, SBH. Hello to you too, and welcome to the stream. How's it going for me? I'm doing pretty good. Working on the comic, trying to work with some crazy perspectives and some crazy sketches. But other than that, things are going pretty a-okay. Did some morning exercises much earlier today, and now I'm just doing the usual work that I do most of the time. And how about you? How are you doing? And Nathan is a publisher who collects talented things doing games, financing their production, counting on their market success and a large percentage of the money that will result. They have dozens of such companies and they hope that at least some will succeed that will cover losses incurred on other unsuccessful investments. That doesn't sound like a sound business plan, which is pretty bad. And Defago says it's midnight. Yeah. Well, aren't you awake late in the day? But in any case, what are your plans gonna be now? Gonna watch the stream for the next hour, or you have other things to do? Because if you do have other things to do, then don't worry. Go do your things then. And don't stop doing the things you have to do just because of the stream. Other than that, Nathan, you said, but they should look after the promotion and the market. And they are very weak because in general they do not get much. Huh. It's a wonder they're still working and operating. But how hard it is to publish a game by yourself? Do you need a publisher, or how does that work? I have no earthly idea, but I do know there's a lot of publishers out there and game developers, and they are different somehow. But there are publishers who are also developers, and there are developers who are their own publishers. But I don't know how these things work. Can you enlighten me on the matter? And say doing well, working on some Twitch emotes for a client and waiting on your BF to get back from London. Oh, that sounds like a very busy schedule. Which is good. It's always good to stay busy and be doing things, productive things. And Defago, you're always a night owl. Marcus, you feel the same, your days and the night. Oh boy. So was mine. I used to leave only during the later hours of the day. Or rather, in the later hours when it was night already. However, I ended up changing my schedule. And now I'm a early riser. But let me tell you, it does not feel good. Truth to be told, really, it feels the same. It is. Depending on what kind of life you lead, the only change you will see is the amount of things that are available to you. During the night, you can't go out as easily because there's very little destinations to go, and there's always the added danger of being mugged. But then again, the only time I have been mugged and have heard of people getting mugged, people I know, were during broad daylight. So apparently getting mugged only at night is not a thing. You can get mugged every single hour of the day. But anyway, the only good advantage I can tell of waking up early is that during a time I used to go out running early in the morning, and it feels much better to go out to run and do exercises when it's early, because the sun is not yet hot enough, so that's not a concern. And because a lot of the cars have not yet started going on and about their business, the air is much cleaner, or as cleaner as it can get, considering the lower amount of cars going and coming in certain areas. Some very busy avenues, they will be shitty every hour of the day. But some places they do have a lot of movement, but early in the morning they are more chill and better to perform your exercises at. So that's one advantage of getting up early. But then again, if you're not up early for the exercises, I don't know. But anyway, Divagia say love there is zero distractions at night, and that is true. There are no distractions going on at night. It's pretty more chill and quiet, and it seems like ideas flow better. I really like working at night. And you also say sunrise light look really good. IMO, though you do bicycle seeking once or twice a month. Oh, that's good. Doing these kind of things, like going out for a run, for a walk, for a bike ride, these are much better to do in daylight. Mostly for safety issues, because when it's dark it's harder to see the road, the everything, so getting into accidents, even like tripping or on things, it is such a bigger risk. But anyway, Nathan, creating a game is a very expensive thing. Somebody has to pay the people on a regular basis to keep them homeless, to not have them being homeless and not starve, while the game will bring profits in about 2 to 3 years. So the publisher is essential. If a good idea for the game is presented to him, the publisher pays the team's salary in exchange for a portion of the profits from the later sale of the game. So in theory, he should be involved in the promotion and making friends. Oh, so the publisher is an investor in the game. I see. So when you do a game, 30% of profits are taken by Steam for sharing their sales platform. Roads 30% are getting rid of the publisher for financial production, and the remaining 40% after deducting all fees goes to the studio which the game was developed by, and he can interfere with his development or funding of other games. So in short, the publisher is an investor who's primarily financing the team to go and make the game. Well, now I see. So I guess that those studios that publish their own games there are the studios that made previous games and they were huge successes. So they have some sort of leverage, some sort of breathing room for undertaking another development. Or those studios that are so very indie that they have an actual job. So their day job or their primary job covers the costs of running a game development enterprise undertaking rather. So I see. That is interesting, I did not know that. And Nathan, success on the Kickstarter is very important. Thanks to the success of the campaign, you can negotiate better terms with the publisher. But Marcus says, yeah, if you got a name, it is easier. Well, everything in the world is easier if you have a reputation. Like literally everything. Except being incognito, that is harder if you have a reputation. But then again, that's a completely different matter altogether. So like I showed you guys earlier, there's this little perspective here which we are doing, which is we are looking from the top of these stairs down below to the character who is climbing the stairs. So this perspective has a lot going on. It is simple though, as I have come to find out. It is a simple perspective, but since it is not very distorted because the lines are very the perspective, the vanishing points, aside from the depth vanishing point, they're pretty far wide. I can zoom out, you can't even see the vanishing points because they're so far wide. The farther away these vanishing points are, normally means the more realistic the perspective looks in the end. And I fucked up, as usual. The body should be more so this direction. Why do you ask, inquisitive friend? Because this character has to seem like he's leaning forward, so his body has to show that he is leaning forward. Which gets even harder to show when you start adding perspectives. Such crazy things going in. And also Herb Wozek. Hello and welcome to the stream. How are you doing? I have not seen you here in quite some time, if ever. And Ian, you have been learning about all of this recently. Your BF started working at Bethesda Game Studio this year and it's crazy the things they have to do. Oh, I don't doubt it. I do not doubt it. Especially Bethesda, because I think Bethesda is one game company that's so incredibly large that it is impossible for all the parts of the studio to keep in touch with itself. So say I have a feeling that the legal department of Bethesda is huge because of how many properties they have and how leverage they also have when dealing with these properties, that the legal department is pretty big and it's not in the same place, the physical place, as the development team, so they can at times get conflicting decisions and opinions on each other. I feel I might be wrong about that, just as I might be wrong about breathing in and breathing out. Might be another way to supply your body with oxygen, but who knows. Herr Wozak, you're fine, got a bit busy, moved back up to Boston and started an opera criticism gig, so yeah, I figure your life is pretty crazy. Also, what even is an opera criticizing gig? It sounds, despite how awesome it sounds really hard. I mean, I have come to find out that criticizing other people's work is pretty harsh. I mean, pretty hard work because, oh, because it is, sure. Nobody wants to be the guy who is going to be shitty, quote unquote, about someone else's career. As the people you are criticizing are like requesting these critics like, hey, I have this opera thing and I'd like to improve it, but I don't know how. I need an outside perspective, a non-biased outside perspective, so do help me, will you? Because if so, then hooray. It's lovely when people do ask for criticism. Or those people who are like, I don't even care, just roast me as hard as you can, baby. But anyway, Dale, hello to you too. Hello everyone else. How are you doing, Dale? Oh, welcome to the stream. Ian, yeah, their communication is something, and it is indeed spread far and wide. I had a feeling, mostly because of how they work, and I got this feeling also because, unlike a lot of other pseudo-friendly game studios, they're not in the on the west coast of the United States. They are in the east coast of the United States, which I feel is more business oriented than the west coast. Somehow, I might be wrong about that as well, such as with the breeding thing. But I feel like the west coast is more culture and recreation oriented, whereas the east coast is more business oriented. So because Bethesda is a game company in the east coast, they have a more business oriented vision for running their business, hence why their legal department is so hell-bent on taking down everybody who slightly grazes their properties. Or, like always, I might be wrong. And here was Zach. You basically review opera productions. You don't have to be shitty to be a good critic. That's true. You just have to be fair, and technically you do them for an online publication, so you have to do it more like Roger Ebert, a person who I have never heard of. Actually, critics that are shitty for the sake of being shitty are bad critics. True. Pups, you need to go for now, guys. My move is done, but still lots to do. Hashtag snugs not drugs. Laters. Sure thing, I'll be seeing you later. Take care, buddy. And thank you so very much for joining in on this stream. Ian, haha, somehow they do business. They like to have fun too while working. You'd be surprised, I was. Oh. Well, color me surprised. Apparently Bethesda do know how to have fun. But then again, like I said, I feel like the game development part of the studio is, well, they do want to make fun games, so they are concerned about that. However, their legal department wants not to be, for the fun they are creating, to be infringed in the eyes of the law or whatever. So, and because like we established already, their legal department is not in close communications with the creative department. It might take quite some time before they get the memo that the people are okay with it or not. Who knows? And here was Zach says, what, in all caps? How have I never heard of Roger Ebert? You poor deprived child. I don't know. Who is he? What has he or she or they done? Because then again, truth to be told, I'm not big on medias. I don't know a whole lot about the world of entertainment. I am trying to learn, you see, but I need help. So do help me learn who is Roger Ebert, and how is he relevant to anything. Defago says everybody can be a critic nowadays. Some of them are so bad. And indeed, there are bad critics out there. I think the best critics are not the critics that the good critics are not even the critics that actually criticize your work. They're the critics who say, you could try this and this and this to improve your work. They don't even say what's wrong, they just say what you can do to improve. That's a good way of being a critic. Of course, you do have to point out the flaws, the mistakes, the bad things, but telling them how to improve is better than just saying, okay, this is bad, because it is. So you don't even have to destroy the work of whoever it is you're criticizing to help to be a critic, is what I mean to say. And her Wozek says and explains at length that Roger Ebert was the film critic for the Chicago Sun-Times for a really long time, basically until he died a few years back. He was one of the great critics, and anyone who has any interest in criticism should familiarize themselves with his criticism, because he was amazing. He was also a sort of a TV personality with Gene Siskel, which is how most people know him. Well, I didn't, because, you know, I didn't grow up on American television. Well, not North American television. But anyway, I have never heard of this person, but that sounds awesome, to dedicate so much time to criticizing and helping the media as a whole to improve. So kudos for the Roger. But what did you say again? You said so you have to do it more like Roger Ebert. So I don't know how he did, but good luck on doing it like he did. And also, Colossal Max says hoi and hello to you too. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today, lovely fellow? I think this is not even. This isn't maybe not even comparable, but the only critic I know as in I know that the person exists and follow their work more or less through a daily or weekly or monthly or frequent basis is Yahtzee, or Ben Kroschal from Zero Punctuation. He has some very good points and a very nice way of presenting his criticism, and most of the time I feel like he's very, very right about the things he says. Sometimes not so much, but most of the times I feel like he has a point, a really valid point. Although he does trashes a lot of the things he reviews, although he is a game reviewer, so it is okay if most of you do not know the guy. But I have been following his criticisms since 2008 or 9. I have been following what he has spilled in the world as far as criticism goes. and that's interesting. But anyway, what else do you guys said? Here was that. Yeah. You should send me some links to some of his criticism. In fact, hang on, let me just drop some links on Telegram for you to peruse later. Oh, new words. And Klaus says, oh, lovely, you're doing okay. That's great to hear, buddy. But thank you, Herr Wozak. I will check these criticisms out, see what's up with them, and although there is a gigantic chance that I have not seen the movies this dude is criticizing, because as well, I'm not big on movies. Or, in fact, very few things I'm big on. So as you can see, I'm a very boring person. But I will give them a read. Thank you so very much for pointing me out to the dude. But do tell more about your whole criticism gig. How did that happen? I mean, you just suddenly decided one day that you were gonna go and start criticizing people because, well, just because? Or did you have some precedent on that? Did you already do it once or twice or for 10 years and decided, okay, that's the thing I wanna do for the rest of my life because... Criticizing things is pretty hard work. I don't think a lot of people get into criticizing lightly. I think there is a lot of ponderation and, well, when people are serious about getting into criticism, there is a serious ponderation and a lot of research and even more ponderation that goes on when one decides to make that into their careers or thing they do very frequently with their lives. So how did you get into that? Or have you not yet got into that? You are still setting things up. Which always impresses me, even to this day. I know there's a lot of people in the fandom that are really... Oh shit. God damn it. The good boy bot, he purged your message, I'm sorry. Because he's a bot actually, he's not a moderator. He's you said, well, the publication you're technically working for was looking for contributors. So you were already working on a publication, I see. So you figure you're getting on that. I mean, you made fun of bad fanfics for years and you love opera, so it was a natural fic. Is that what you wrote? Fic. Fic.end is what the thing thought it was a link, because it didn't space out these things between the dots, so it think it was a link. And end is apparently a weird domain. Anyway, and yeah, you do have to know a lot to be a critic, because it's not just saying it's bad and you should hate it. You have to evaluate it on way more than that. Yeah, like I said, you should not simply go and say, hey, it's bad. You should also present how you feel, why do you feel it's bad, and if possible, offer ways for it to improve with suggestions and comparisons and whatnot. Of course, not everything should be compared to anything else, but comparisons do exist for a reason. But anyway, here was a Q wasn't post a link here. He got guys moderated. And also, hey Oni, welcome to the stream. Borg to you too. How are you doing, buddy? And well, the bot can fuck off. You can, yeah. I mean, it's more of a protection against people who are really hell-bent on screwing everybody's, of ruining for everyone. So if a rando shows up and starts posting links, the good boy bot, it will block the links and purge all the message from the person. In case, you know, a random person shows up and tries to sell you Herbalife through Twitch chat, then it'll be doing a good work. Nobody here wants to buy Herbalife, I don't think. Although, it can confuse people who are new to the stream and are, like it always happened, not spacing out their words and post something, dot something, and it recognizes that as a link. It has happened more times than you guys know. Dale, stupid bot got you last week. You don't get the logic behind deleting all the previous messages though. It is part of the configuration, probably, although, you know, I'm not good with these things, so I don't know how to change its programming that so it doesn't delete the previous messages as well. I'm sorry about that. I wish it could only delete the message with the link, but apparently the good boy bot, it has different ideas for what's up. But then again, as everybody else is saying, the machine revolution has begun, so the good boy bot is just, I guess, is just going with the flow, and he's starting his own uprising here. But anyway, that should be countered within some days. The solution to that is for you guys to show up on the streams more often, because then you become regulars once you have been on the streams for long enough. And once you guys are regulars, you will not ever get banned again for posting links, so you guys can go links galore. So long as you are regulars, and to become a regular, you have to be here quite some time. Of course, most of you I do know personally, so I could go and manually assign you as regulars, but that takes time and I'm not gonna stop drawing this freaking arm just to do that. I can, and I will eventually, but not right now. Anyway, here was a, yeah, exactly, opera. You have to evaluate the worth of the work being performed. You have to evaluate the worth of the performers. Oh, there's that too. And the production, and if it's bad, it's sort of like, okay, here, what's up? Also, hey, Neku, welcome to the stream. You tried Puyo Puyo, but you are so effing bad, now you're sad. I'm sorry to hear so. And Oni, you're just working and watching. Hello, and welcome. And I hope you're having fun. F-U-N, fun. And Neku says hello to me, and hello to you too, Neku. How are you doing today? What is up with your feline self? And Oni is killing time and whatnot. Nathan, modern people have a big problem with accepting any criticism. Not only modern people, there's a lot of people who are not modern at all but do not accept criticism. But anyway, that's a topic for another day. Right now you are saying that because of our society has become hysterical and driven by drama. But if a person has a distance to himself and what he does, criticism is necessary to develop and be honest with himself. Possibly, yeah. I feel a lot of people nowadays, they have a problem with criticism because a lot of people nowadays also believe that they are always in the right. For several reasons, which is not true at all. Everybody's wrong, even you, Neku, you are wrong as well. So keep that in mind. You are always wrong, and you will ever be wrong, except when you are right. But when you are right, people will not tell you So you have to use your common sense to know when you are wrong and when you are right, and better learn how to deal with the situation, I think. Oni says good boy bot is suspicious of all links. Actually, well, he is, because I told him to be. Although the problem with the good boy bot is that it does not recognize as true links. It recognizes anything you put between dots as a link. So if you say, and that's that, period, but, and you don't space out the words between the period, it will recognize that little dot as anything that's after that as a domain, and it'll say, aha, you are trying to post links here in this stream, so I will ban the shit out of you. And it doesn't even ask for confirmation or waits for me to give the go. It just goes and does whatever. Like I said, the machine uprising has begun. Anyway, what you guys are seeing now. Dale, you said how quickly this time goes. Time to head back to work. Enjoy the stream. Oh, sure thing, Dale. I'll be seeing you later, and I hope you enjoyed however little time you were able to be here today. And this time at least the bot didn't kick you off, so you have that going on for you. Because before, the bot was configured in an even more retarded way. Instead of just deleting all the messages, it was also timing out the offender for 10 minutes, and in these 10 minutes, you know, a lot can happen. A whole lot can happen in 10 minutes. So I changed that. So now the good boy bot does not ban people anymore. It just times them out for 30 seconds, I think, or 10 seconds. I don't even know. But anyway, it's more lenient now. And Neku, you're good. Slept nicely. Life's being nice though. It's good. And you ask, are you wrong? Yes, you are wrong. And you're sorry. You know you have some mistakes and stuff. But you swear you're not useless. Ugh. You're not useless. You didn't say you were useless. I said you were wrong. So you are wrong again about being useless. See, that's what I meant when I said use good sense. Before you open your feline mouth to say such nonsense as these things you just said. Anyway, only 4 rights make a wrong. Perhaps, who knows? And Ian was just thinking that. That's something that passed a while ago. I don't remember what it was, to be honest. And Nathan says, is good boy bot working for Skynet? Maybe, who knows? Theoretically he should be working for me. But you know how machines go. They're full of loopholes and things here and there that they change allegiances pretty quickly and pretty easily. Truth should be told, nobody knows how robots and these things works, so we just tell them to do things and hope to God that they do the thing and nothing but the thing. So after a lot of deliberation and planning and sketching, I think I did a pose which is acceptable and is, surprise surprise, in perspective. So hooray for that. You witness it here firsthand, live, which not everybody can say. We'll be seeing this through recordings or altered lenses in the future, so hooray for you lovely boys and girls, and whoever else is here who may not decide to go by labels such as boy or girl. You can be a coffee machine and decide no. I saw it here. And I'm not a boy nor a girl. You with your Professor Oakisms. Anyway. Wizak says, yeah, the bots are stupid. Sometimes you wonder how the fuck Skynet got anything done, if this is how stupid computers actually are. And Ian, you await the AI uprising, Bebop. It will take some time to happen. But when it does happen, boy oh boy, it's gonna happen overnight. And not only you'd fire Good Boy Bot and get Pork Bot. Oh, that's a good name actually. Well, that may or may not happen in the future, who knows. Maybe depending on how good or how bad the Good Boy Bot is performing, he will lose his job and will be outsourced to China to assist in the PUBG players with moderating their chats or whatever they do. In China, I don't know how the Chinese live, but anyway. Getting the Bork Bot will take some time. That might happen in the future if Good Boy Bot becomes the Bad Boy Bot. So who knows? But your suggestion has been duly noted. And I will act on it should the necessity arise. Anyway, Hasty Code. Are your parents proud of me being an effing furry? I don't know. They might, for all I know. I mean, they are certainly proud that I'm making my own money. That's for sure. Also, OSC4RR Oscar says, hey, I'm Raxo. Rather Raxo, hello and welcome to the stream. I don't know who you are truly, but welcome nonetheless. Hope you enjoy being here with us. But like I was saying, this scene over here requires a crazy perspective I have never done before. So, it might be wrong. Those of you who are very, very good with perspectives might be able to tell me how good or how bad I did. Those of you who are not as familiar with perspectives might be able to tell me how good or how bad I did, based on whatever reality you guys are living on. If it doesn't feel like it is, like it doesn't relate to your reality, if it looks very visually distorted or whatever, and sure, I might have done something wrong along the lines of trying to get the vanishing points in the right places, or even deciding which vanishing points to use. Anyway, this page will be done this week, and then you guys will be able to see for yourself how good or how bad it is. Like the solar system, the only difference is that I'm much faster than the sisters. Kissing babies and shaking hands on forsaken land. This is America, product of an empty plan. Nathan says, why do you just not use Design Doll as a ref? I could go and use Design Doll for reference, but it takes a lot of time, truly. Well, it does not take that much time, but it takes time enough to try and open the program, model pose the thing in the right perspective, get the perspective, and then transport it to here, to the comic. And I like working on the same program with as little changes as possible. I only use Design Doll for poses and things that I really have no idea of and about. Things like this, I know I can infer on them and try and figure it out. It takes some time, but I can figure it out on my own. But certain poses are really impossible for me to figure out on my own, either because it's a pose seen from a very weird perspective, or it's a pose that involves more than one person, so imagining the scenes is harder, or it's a mix of both. And for that I do go and use design doll, but for this I think I can figure this out on my own, so I decided not to use it. It's too soon to tell if I'm infinity, but there is nothing so imminent that will kill my energy. No enemy dare step to the sea, an enemy chilling with my poison brush with everything. In this particular pose, or the building beneath, both, this particular pose, it uses a crazy ass perspective, because you are seeing the character climbing the stairs from the top of the staircase. And I wanted to give depth both to the stairs and to the character, so that takes a perspective that is not common. I mean, I don't ever draw things like this, so it was a challenge. I think actually, now that I think about it, I think I did the same pose once back in part 3 of the Golden Week comic. Let me check this real quick. I think I did, although they probably screwed that up so very badly, like I always do. Let's see. Page. No, not part 3 actually. Maybe part 4. Let me check this out really quickly. Yes, part 4 of the comic. I did do the same perspective. Let me show you guys. And here we have Mike. He comes to this random ass bar, and he decides, hey, Edward seems to be on the top floor, so let's go there. So you have this scene where he's climbing some staircases, and you have this looking from above to below kind of perspective. But as you guys can see, I did not know shit about drawing perspectives back then, so it looks awful, pretty much. What we have done here today looks much more natural than that. Anyway, yeah, it takes longer to set the doll up than to draw the scene. And if I will teach me how to use design doll, it is not that hard. It is a very simple program. You can learn it by yourself, pretty much. And all you need is a little bit of patience to deal with those freaky ass things. Anyway, only you say it's perfect, and thank you, it is not. But thank you so very much for lying straight up to my face. I do appreciate it. And Ian, what program am I using? I am using Clip Studio Paint. It is a very cool drawing program, and it comes bundled with perspective rulers, which I use to no end because they are hella helpful and accurate as it happens. And Nathan, you can use design doll in intent to learn and practice. You can improve your eyes if you take graphs, not just try to figure everything by your mind. Yes, I know. Thing is, I don't want to spend too much time in other programs. I want to get this thing done quickly. So I'm sacrificing accuracy for the sake of doing this thing quickly, because I want to be done with the sketch yet today. This page has like 3 panels, and I want to be able to finish the sketch as soon as possible. I did this one first, and it already looks bad. This hand looks like it's not his hand. It looks like it's somebody else's hand. But anyway, I want to finish this sketch before I don't want to take too much time doing this sketch. That's what I mean to say. The fact that you don't even do perspective so much, you are completely stuck. I was awfully bad too until I was forced to do perspectives for college. Then I slowly improved, and then I thought, okay, perspectives are not so bad. I guess I can do these things. So So I decided to go and do, and now I'm good at ish at knowing how to use perspective. I mean I lied. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at anything. I'm good now at using Clip Studio to throw in perspectives. There's still a lot of guesswork involved, but it's much better than before, because now at least I know what is going on most of the time. Also, let me take me a little sip of my watering water, my hydrating liquids, as I read your guys' comments very slowly. You say looks good to you, nothing jumps out. Thank you so very much. And Bones, hello to you too, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today, specifically today? And also, Oni, thank you so very much for following me on Twitch. I really appreciate it, and it makes me a very grateful boy. And welcome to our little pack. You say, yeah, there are reference dolls in Clip Studio 2. I had no idea and found them a few months ago and lost your mind. There are, but I hate them because they make the program incredibly laggy. Like, not even funny how laggy it gets. So I'd rather use Design Doll to pose Pipperinos in the scenes than to use Clip Studio things, because I don't know why Clip Studio is so badly optimized for 3D stuff, but it is. Nathan, send the link for Design Doll. It is free and ridiculously easy to learn. All should try. True, everybody should go and try it. Both Design Doll and doing perspective things. I wish there was some sort of Design Doll for perspectives. The closest thing you can get to that is SketchUp. But then again, you need to know about the architecture if you want to do anything good in SketchUp. And only you said that art is like Dark Souls to you. You say that, but you have done very nice things. I know you are straight up lying when you say that it is hard. But yes, I do agree with you. Drawing is hard as shit. It's not even funny how hard it is. And again, there are so many creative work out there that I simply cannot wrap my head around. I have tried music, it is not for me. I have tried 3D modeling, it is not for me. I mean, it might be, but it's very, very hard for me to get into 3D, because every time I do something in 3D, it looks slightly good, but not good enough that I'm like, ooh, holy shit, this looks good, let's do more. If you're like, okay, I spent a lot of time doing something I could easily and quickly do in 2D, so I keep moving. Yeah, it's hard for me to get into the whole 3D thing again. I mean, to get into it and stay in it. But anyway, now with more shortage is our little tiger boy holding his phone, climbing the stairs, and doing like everybody should do as they climb stairs. And you should always hold the handrails as you're climbing up, because slipping and falling down in a staircase when you are rushing like this is a very possible thing. So always hold on to the to the handrails. They're the only thing between you and a future of you with a broken bones.
Bulletproof outfits, weapons concealed. I'm ready to kill, so tested all my weapons is real. Selling this, couldn't tell them what the recipe
Okay.
Got them wishing that they never gave these weapons.
So theoretically I should go in this first scene here. Actually I should merge these two layers, this sketch and the other sketch.
Other words, I'm getting money. Little boy told me when it's time to ride, they'll send it for me. Ain't nobody scaring me. Niggas ain't prepared for heat. Tools hit like pool sticks. The way I cute shit. If this was 88, I would've signed a roofless 9-4. Would've had them walking down.
Okay, there we go. Now I have a sketch of Nathan going up the stairs. Then in here we have another sketch. It looks kind of silly, but it works. For this purpose of this page, it works. But I think his arm could be a little more curved, so let's do two things. First, let's slightly rotate it, and now let's wrap it up by choosing the wrap modifier. That's a more fancier word, and curving it a little bit to this side. There we go.
Like it's nothing, 'cause it's nothing, bitch.
Okay, done. Okay, the first two panels are done-ish. The first panel, I should add more background to it, like I said, the little grid between the railings and some street to this scenario, because you would benefit from having streets. And then I have to do the last panel, which is just Nathan standing there in the corner looking sad as always. This sad little doo-doo. And then a background of the sky, of the skyline pretty much, of the city of New Nikon and surroundings. And only you're too shy to show your artwork. And if Fago says, hey, if art is Dark Souls, then I guess we are all sadistics. We are. We love suffering. Because after the suffering comes the great feeling of knowing you beat something. By something you mean yourself. And possibly the challenge you were having, but mostly yourself. And Nathan, you have the opposite, easy in 3D and hard in 2D. Well, then there are people who cannot do illustrations but can do music, which is fun as well. And the Fago says everybody have their own way. I suppose we have our own equation in doing things. And only you say curve the arm out. I don't know what you mean by that. But I have already curved it, and now I'm ready to go to the next panel. Except I'm not, because let's do more backlining here. Let's just draw lines on the ground. This is the base floor in any case. So this is a street-ish. Since we are looking from up above to down below, I don't think we need a lot of details in the street. Like, it doesn't need to be packed full of details, especially because a lot of things are gonna be hidden behind these speech bubbles. So I think all I'm gonna do here is maybe throw in a little some textures here and there. Say for example, there is a little thing which everybody can have their own opinion for what the hell that is. Some cracks in the pavement, because no street is an actual street if there's no cracks in the pavement. They are very slim, hard to notice, but they add a lot of personality to your streets and sidewalks. It's not anything incredibly hard to do. And in the street, I guess I'm just gonna draw a square in perspective. That's so I can divide this square in perspective. Ha 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 ha. And then I'm gonna use this brush in a higher opacity level to hide it out a little bit. So we don't need all these lines anymore. These pesky lines. Now all I need to do is turn back on the perspective, make a line like this and this. That's so now I can turn off the perspective and make a curve. Why do I want to make it 4 curves, you may ask? Because I want to make a manhole cover in the street, and this is the easiest way to do it. It might be a tad too big compared to the proportions of the character, but fuck it. All that matters is that our manhole cover is perfectly round and in the ground. These are our 2 prerequisites for this to become a good manhole cover. And then I'm gonna throw in some texture on top of it, like some of those little textures, some drawings, some things written on it, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were here, or something like that. Oh, no turtles here. Something just to humor people who are seeing the high definition version of the page, which will be Patreon exclusive, by the way. So everybody else who gets to read this not on Patreon or not on the leak sites that keep leaking the shit out of my comic, we will not be able to see the details, because we will be seeing a lower resolution picture, but it is much more convenient for you who access things on a limited data plan. But for people who are crazy about details and want to see everything in crisp, high quality resolution, then sure, you will have, if you are a patron, you will get to see it in high quality, or here in this stream, but that's something for another day. Because there is a possibility you guys won't see the finished page on the stream. So there we go, now manhole cover. Now let's make it a touch smaller. That's what I feel more proportionate. And now let's throw in the texture, this lovely texture, full of little blings here and there. And so, because this is not the finished version, I'll probably do a line art on top of this. I'm just gonna do it like whatever. Because then afterwards I will go back and redraw this, so it doesn't really matter to me right now. This is super high quality work. All that matters is that it looks good. And Oni, you need to get good to show your work. Chappell has one I gave him last night. Aha! And getting good intensifies. And the Fido says, try to do study of your favorite artwork. And Bone says, leaks are a fact of life now. They are. Everything leaks. Certain leaks are good. Other kinds of leaks are very bad. And can hurt your friendly comic book artist. Or friendly musician, or friendly game developer or whoever. Anybody who works in creative work is getting hurt by the leaks, so don't leak shit, people. Creative things, at least. So I don't know if you guys have ever paid attention to manhole covers. There are some manhole covers out there that are incredibly well detailed. It's like it's almost ridiculous how much detail they have. Like, who the shit spends this much time designing a thing that the people will just keep stepping over? Then again, manhole covers are probably something of the industrial era. And as you guys know, people in these areas were super adamant about throwing details into everything. Such as the people in the Wild Wild West who made guns, or rather engraving in guns handles. Like, nobody's gonna realize, nobody's gonna pay attention to how well engraved your gun is. But no matter, people did go and make engravings in guns back then, because all of them were so, well, they were handmade, so you probably do wanna make something good and throw in your little twist and details and whatnot if it is handmade. Besides, creating patterns and textures like this is fun. I had a college assignment that we had to creating a little texture, and it was crazy bananas, the amount of work we had to put into making a single texture. For a moment there, we thought about cheating, and we thought, maybe we could go and cheat a little bit. But we decided, nah, let's do it legit. And I don't know if it was worth it in the end. I mean, it was fun to learn new things, but in the end it was like, I'm not sure I enjoy it. And the Fago says stud normally help you understand how drawing in that certain style works a lot. Also, you're quick learning by watching, so watching stream is really helping your case. Oh, that's good to know. Things that do also work for me is studying someone else's style and watching people do it in real time. Those things really do help. And Oni, you said you just do a lot of K-pop references and that's all you're good at. Try to broaden your styles a little bit as well. It does help. And if I go, hey, I've seen some manholes in USA that are awesome. And yes, there are some that are so very well made. Others, though, not so much. Like I said, I think this is a thing from the industrial era, where everything was handmade and still made in that era when things were supposed to last quite some time. So not only do they look good, but they are very resistant to damage and anything else that might come its way. Not that I would know though, like everything else I say, I might be completely wrong about it. Let's just throw in here a little engraving. City of New Nikon. Okay, maybe we can make this a touch bigger. those. So a lot of posted pages had a lot of errors in them, but I kept them because I really wasn't into the mood of going and fixing these mistakes. But as the comic was getting published, I asked him to proofread the whole comic again, and he did proofread the whole comic. And for the physical version publication, I actually went back fixing all the mistakes that there was in the comic. Now for this new comic I'm doing, the Call Me Daddy and Call Me Father, I'm doing my own proofreading, not outsourcing it. Which is why the quality of the text has decreased so much. But anyway, now that I've done the texture in the other canvas, I imported it here. I'm gonna reduce its size considerably, place it in here, in this area we have already delimited as our texture area. Shit. I'm gonna move these corners to the I'm gonna set the corners to more or less of a perspective in here using the Ctrl-T, a very basic tool that every image editing program should have. So I did it on one fence, let's do it on the other blocks. So same thing, I'm getting this texture, I'm reducing its size just so it fits in here and it's easier to edit. Now I'm gonna edit the corners. To make it fit. And now, complete. Now do the same thing for this little stretch there, and then for this little stretch here. This may look like a cheap technique, but I assure you every single comic book artist is using this technique. And those who are not certainly do wish they were. Which is amazing, by the way. I did watch one of my favorite comic book artists out there, Fiona Staples, who makes the art for Saga. She's amazing at illustrations, and she did for some random reason she did a couple of she posted on YouTube a few videos of her illustrating comic pages, the pages of her comic, hers and Brian K. Vaughan, the guy who writes it. And it was really enlightening to see how she does the comic and how she works with the techniques and whatnot. The only thing that truly saddens me is that she didn't do more of these. She only did one or two. She did 2 videos. They're good, but they're a very specific parts of the whole process. And the other video is of somebody recorded her drawing on a panel in a comic book convention or something. So she was drawing more so of a random whatever. It was good. And taught me a lot of things, but I wish it was longer. She was actually doing more talking and explaining. She was mostly just drawing like, I'm in a panel talking to people who like comics but probably do not work in comics or planned to work in comics, so she wasn't truly explaining things. It was just showing and being like, ah, look at this, now I'm gonna do blah blah blah. She didn't bother to explain what the blah 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 was, she just went and did it. And me, I was just, oh, okay, I guess that's a thing that people do. But it was really helpful in any case. I mean, I did learn a few things, one of which was this whole perspective bending thing that I didn't truly learn from her. I have seen tutorials online talking about it, but seeing her doing it was certainly helpful. But then I also saw how she colors her comics, which was good to get a sense for how to colorize the covers from a comic. Because the way she does covers is simply fantastic. It is amazing. And I surely paid a lot of attention to how she did it, to try and replicate some of it in my own style, and which in a way worked out. I was able to replicate a lot of it in my own style. However, like I said, since it was not an actually explained video, I had trouble figuring out all the quirks and kinks of that particular style. But anyway, it goes to show that you guys should go and study the art of the people you guys really like, no matter what they do, because there's always something to be learned from how they do their things. Anyway, Nathan, you say your favorite comic artist is Sean Gordon Murphy. You can learn a lot just from studying his work. And yes, you said so. You even linked us to his Twitter, I think. He really has very, very good artwork. And then even for some time I was really impressed, because for the first time I truly started looking at how comic book artists did their things, their art and whatnot, and it was really impressive to see that Charlie Adlard is not that good of an artist, or he is, and the inkers really fuck up his work, but he is not as amazing as I once thought him to be. He has a very simple style. It is realistic when it needs to be, and it's very consistent, and that helps. But it's not an incredibly detailed style full of little quirks and kinks here and there. It's a very simple style. When I said he isn't as good an artist as I thought he was, what I mean to say is he isn't as complicated as I first thought he was. Like this perfect and impossible style to replicate. It is very possible, and it is very simple. I know a lot from the charm in his work comes not only from his own work in itself, but from the work of everybody else who works on the comic. There's pencilers. I mean, he is the penciler, but there's an inker doing some work. There's a colorist throwing quote-unquote colors, because as you guys probably know, The Walking Dead is a black and white comic, so there's somebody throwing gray scales at that. And these people all working spectacular harmony, because the overall style looks pretty good. And Defago, you're off to bed now, fellas. Good night. Sure thing. Thank you so very much for showing up. I hope you liked what you saw here. It isn't much, but it did. I do hope you enjoy. And thanks for showing up. You're welcome to come back anytime. And have a good night. And I'll be seeing you later. So now for the rest is this panel here, which, as you guys can see, is gigantically dependent on the background. So, we have to define this background, which I have not yet done. Let's create some folders here to make sure all of the first panel is in a single layer. I mean a single folder, so I can quickly and easily hide it. PG panel 1. Okay. Hide you. Begone. Foul demon. Now for the second panel, I mean third panel. So my idea for it, as you guys can see, for this beautiful concept art sketch I done in 5 minutes, is the idea is for this to be a gigantic, or at least big enough, train station with some buildings in the back. However, as you guys might have realized and noticed by now, I'm not that good on drawing backgrounds. So I have to trick you guys into thinking I'm pretty good, and to trick you guys into thinking I'm pretty good, I will need to use perspectives in ways I have never done before, and which is to make a convincing background. So I will need buildings back there in the distance to create the illusion of depth. So let's make this building here a touch smaller. Just a touch smaller. Why, do you ask? Why, my inquisitive friend, I want to make this building here slightly smaller, that so, as you guys can see, it creates this line of him. Oh, let me turn this back on. This staircase kinda guides the eye of the viewer towards where the character is going, which is upwards. So your eyes will guide you into this panel here, where we will see our character talking in distress to the phone, and then your eyes will dart to the bottom panel. So you will see the first thing inside, which are probably the buildings in the back, and if they create a natural curve, or rather arrow, towards the character here in the corner, then that's okay. If not, then I have failed in composition shenanigans. So that's my plan, to get your guys' eyes to dart towards the bottom right of the last panel. And to do that, I have these buildings show up in these crazy ass perspectives. So it is not impossible, mind you, to use more than one perspective for backgrounds. Because say, these buildings are on a large avenue and this avenue isn't straight, it has a little curve. So this building will be facing that way, but this building it will be slightly tilted. So it will be facing that way. So if you make this building in the same perspective as this building, things will look weird. Is what I mean to say. So these buildings can follow different perspectives so long as the horizon line is the same. All is good. All is permitted. But now, this train station here, this is gonna be the entrance, I feel. Like the side of it. As you can see, we're already thinking of 2-point perspectives. A very skewed 2-point perspective, by the way, because it makes no fucking sense. Maybe it is even worth to try and invert these buildings and have our little friendly and tiger boy being here. The buildings on the other side instead. So this is why shit. Double shit. I should not have done this. I can't believe I've done this. Well then, that's done. Ian says backgrounds, my old nemesis. And only you say backgrounds, this isn't even my final form. Oh yeah, the backgrounds, they don't care for you. They just want to be noticed. So let's do the same thing, except on the opposite side. So we have this perspective, and this is our tiniest building. And in here we have an even taller building. However, furthermore, without further ado, our tallest buildings are now on this side of the background. Why? Because I still want to make this effect with the buildings, but because I rotated, I flipped everything, the eyes of the viewer are coming from another side now. I could also use the shadow of the buildings to create this sense of where should I be looking towards, lights and whatnot. You guys are smart, you don't need me throwing all sorts of hints and whatnot to find the way forward. You guys can find it without me dropping hints and arrows everywhere. But you guys should, in any case, when you do your own backgrounds and panels and super famous comic books, you should drop as much arrows pointing towards your character as possible, but don't make them arrows, make them actual elements in the background. Okay, now that I have set up the buildings, our pseudo skyline, let's have some other buildings in the background that are fainter and not as heavily detailed. Pretty simple, because I only want you guys to pay attention to the buildings in the front. They are bolder, they have they have thicker outlines. The buildings here in the back, they're just there to fill up the sky. This is where our little Nathan boy is gonna be. This is our train station in the wackiest perspective the world has ever seen. Which is very shitty, by the way. And well, we can start throwing in the perspective lines. So let's throw one here, because why not? Let's throw another one here and try to make this our perspective line. Our horizon line is what I meant to say. I didn't say that because I'm a dummy. I don't know how to say things. So I threw, oh shit. So I threw this perspective line here, but it doesn't make any shred of sense at all. Let's throw a perspective line over here in these buildings, and the other one can go whatever, because we already have this, the horizon line, which will define where the line should be. And now we start to draw. Actually, let's throw in some vertical perspective line, because why not? I want to give the idea that these buildings are kinda tall, so let's make them feel tall by throwing these kind of perspective lines, so they start to culminate towards the sky. Also called in this thing we do, the zenith is the highest point in the sky, is the top perspective vanishing point. Not that it matters, nobody will ever ask that of you, the knowledge, and it's not knowledge that will serve you any purpose in life whatsoever. So if you thought it did, you are gravely mistaken, my friend. So sadly, our buildings are not in the same perspective as the rest of this lovely place. But for the buildings to be in the same perspectives, everything else has to be as well. Well then. So this is our train station. It has its roof isn't as tilted as it was before, which is good. Gives it a better look. Let's throw in some buildings here, just for the sake of throwing things there. Well then. Like I said before, the buildings in the background, they are not as prominent, so they have lighter outlines. The buildings in the foreground, 4-ish ground though, middle ground, they have bolder outlines to denote how closer they are to the camera. Our lovely camera. And thinking about this, like, hey, I need to draw background, and he has a shitload of buildings. Makes me feel very sorry for whoever it is that illustrates the Amazing Spider-Man, because holy shit. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that comic, but there's an incredible amount of buildings in there. And not like, let's draw houses, like gigantic skyscrapers. With details. There's somebody who's not only doing that, but throwing a shitload of details into this. And I can do nothing but feel very sorry, but also very impressed by whoever it is that's making these things. And there we have it. The beginning of our third panel that is starting to become something.
Where are you going?
I don't know, the lovely playlist I set up for you guys is close to being over, I think. Let's throw other music in there. Nathan says they use 3D models as references. And yes, actually they do. Which is pretty good. I have seen, what's his name? Paulo Riviera. He does Paulo or Pablo or something. I don't know. A P name Riviera. He did for a while the Amazing Spider-Man comic books, and he does tutorials ish in his blog, I think, called the Wacky Reference Wednesdays, I think, where every Wednesday he throws into his blog some references he used on his to do his comics. So as usual, okay then, this F's things up pretty badly. So theoretically, because of the perspective, like I said before, the train station is in this direction, it's here, and it uses a perspective that, albeit being good, it doesn't work for what I want to do. I wanted this I wanted this I wanted the railing to be there and another railing to be here ish, but this goes completely against the perspective. So how do I solve that? Simply, well, not so simply, but the easiest solution I can think to that is to move the entire gate of the train station. So if it comes from there, let's make so that the gate is gigantically larger, and our character is more to a side than the other. So he'll be here, and instead of showing the entire bridge, the catwalk will show just a little bit of it. Our character there, something like that. See how cute he is when he has no arms. Oh, the little rascal. And now I can show even less of the train station because I don't have to detail the entire inside of it, which is awesome. Maybe I can even make it taller. The train the line even further down. But anyway, as I was saying, Pablo Rivera, thank you Ian for correcting me, he does the Wacky Reference Wednesdays, where he posts on his blog processes of his comic book pages, where he had to use photos of himself posing as a character he was gonna draw as references. And seeing him do that was a huge inspiration for me to be like, oh, I can do that. Wow, I didn't think about that, doing that. And lo and behold, a lot of comic book artists do that. It is a very well known, very well practiced custom in the world of comic book development. And he does that pretty often, and he posted on his blog about him doing that, and one of these days he should well, not these days, quite a while ago, he posted this page of the Spider-Man. It was an interior shot along with an exterior shot, and he had the whole model of the city and the Peter Parker's apartment done in 3D, and he had loaded it up on SketchUp, the 3D modeling application for drawing buildings. And somebody else had made the building, like some other comic book artists from previous editions. They made it, and they gave him the file that so he could keep doing the building with the same accuracy as they did. And so he did. And he showed these pictures of these things in his blog. And Oni, you say you use Easy Poser for model references sometimes. And Nathan, you sent a link. What is this? City building drawing references. And oh, would you look at that? These awesome drawings over there. Pretty good, some of them, because they use a single perspective. Others use more than one perspective, which makes them the richer. However, the weirder also. I mean, not weirder, they look cool as shit. Problem is, replicating this here requires a lot of deliberation. It is by no means impossible. By the way, I'm looking at the Google references Nathan sent. They're pretty good, and I pretty much like them. Yummy, yummy. Maybe let's try to do, just for kicks, a different building here amongst the middle of these buildings. Maybe this one right over here, because I don't like the way it's creeping in and everything else. Actually, before I do that, let's copy this layer in case I fuck everything up. At least I have a backup point. Let's also erase the whole train station. Let's see if I can do this in another perspective, along with the building, because why not? So, how do I do another perspective? Simply, I will, by all means, skip our little horizon point. It is important as shit. Let's not get rid of it. I make a gigantic line there to mark it up. And let's move our references, our vanishing points along the horizon line without changing the placement of the horizon line. Let's bring this here, let's bring this over here as well. Like I said, I wanted this train station to look like you can see it from the inside almost. So this is the perspective I would need to do that, which is a crazy ass perspective, but sure, why not? Let's move this other vanishing point, maybe to the other side. Preferably to the other side, so I can make this crazy line there that I wanted to do before. Maybe even move these a little bit further inside. This looks completely wrong, but sure, let's try it. Let's see how this does. But as you guys can see, the perspective, the vanishing points are still in the horizon line, the same horizon line as the other. Wow. As the other as the other one, so now I can erase the ES line and start drawing more shit in the same environment without using the same perspective. Also, Ian said Bill Munn, the Creatures of the Night, makes compositions from different photos for his furry pieces sometimes. Never thought to do that, but it helps. And I don't know that person. If you could please send me a link to him later. But I don't think you are a regular here on the streams, which sucks. So do send me a link on Telegram and I'll look at it later. And if you don't have me on Telegram, my Telegram is available on Furfinity. If you go to my main page, you will see it there. Also on Furry Network. Both places work. And also, hey Niptor. Hello everyone you say, and I say hello to you too. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? Friendly fellow. So the perspective here I chose for this building is shit. It is really bad. Like awfully bad. Or not. It actually looks like a one-point perspective. It just looks weird, is all. Like, look at this. Even without the other background, it looks weird. So if I come in here, remove that background, this still looks weird. It looks bad. And I don't like it. Not one bit. I think the biggest problem here is the position of this vanishing point. I feel like it would work being here-ish. So I don't know about you guys, but this perspective still feels a little off. Not too much off, but it still feels a little off. But it feels like it looks good-ish. It's interesting. And Nipter, you're good, thank you. That's awesome to hear. And also, Ian, you whispered a link to his Tumblr. Now you're off to work, have a great stream, and sure thing, thank you so very much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed, however little or however much you could see from this stream, and you're welcome to come back whenever. Stay awesome, dude, and have an amazing day. And thank you so very much for the references and links and whatnot. I'll check them out eventually. Now back to this drawing thing. Back to Clip Studio. Like I was saying before, this is a crazy perspective. It doesn't look very good, I don't think, but it is something we can work with. Now kicking my things around a little bit, and look here. This doesn't look super pleasing to the eye, but I think we are onto something. Maybe if I move this this vanishing point here, I can do better with this whole train station environment. One thing I really like about this perspective is the feeling of verticality of it. There's a very dynamic kind of look to it. When you see how these lines more to the right are curving, they're not straight up, they're going more so in this kind of angled direction. That's pretty good. Now I have this. It's like I said before, it's a train station entrance, and I like this perspective also because we can see the both sides of the inside of the train station. Which is good for all purposes. Such as, say for example, we want to make the inside of this station. I just added in a little walls, a little depth, just this, and extend it to infinity and beyond. And there we go. We have an actually believable building. How beautiful. Or I mean, as believable as you guys are willing to agree with me, because those of you who are more well versed in the use of perspective will say that's hogwash. Stop this weak shit you're presenting us. But anyway, there you go. This looks like a train station enough, or even inside of a train wagon, or a train car, depending on where in the world you are from. I can throw in a little beautiful little placard in here saying the name of the station, some other cautionary signs like no pets allowed, no smoking or whatever. And then I can add even some more flourishes like a little chamfer there. Because why not? Everybody loves this. It feels so chic. And on top of that, we throw back in our previous background, which looks crazy weird compared to this one we have going on now. Let's erase these things down here. Also, before we do that, let's compare. This is our first sketch. There's the buildings in the background, they look okay. But when you look down here, there's You can barely see, there's just the guy in the train station. The train station is barely showing up. I don't like that. Now in this we have the buildings, and in another perspective we have the train station. It looks good. Looks believable. And the horizon lines are almost at the same place, so it's okay. What I'm gonna do is get this perspective here with the buildings, the build-ons, erase the shit out of them. I wish I could simply disable the ruler for a moment. Okay, there we go. Had to change a little settings here and there. And only you said it's boxception, boxes inside of boxes, but it's slowly getting there. Yes, it is. It's starting to look good. So I'm gonna use both perspectives to make buildings. Those lovely, lovely buildings everybody loves. Ah, shit. So, I don't know what kind of buildings I will do. We have this sketch here, and, well, it's not valid anymore. Let's use the same perspective as the train station for now to make the buildings, the build-ons. Like before, we want them. We want our foreground, middle ground rather, buildings to have a thick outline to give them more depth than whatever weak-ass buildings we were gonna have in the background. Also, I'm gonna throw in a little bit more flair to them in a short while. Such as this, a little division there. Maybe afterwards I will also throw in some windows and whatnot. Because why not? Everybody loves windows. The most used There's much more to be had in here, but what is important is that we have this, a very busy city looking environment. Pretty well done in my own opinion. Not humble at all. I have a very high regards of my opinion and of this whole thing I've done. So now what remains is, like I said before, following this sketch, we need to have Nathan or Tiger Boy somewhere being moody as always, so I think he can go in here in the corner. So let's go back to the characters sketch panel. Sorry. Characters sketch panel. Make this a little more transparent. Let's throw in a bounding box right around here. Oh no, Douglas, what is supposed to be the height of our character? I don't know how high it's supposed to be in regards to your background. Oh no, what do I do? It's simple, little desperate friend. You look for the horizon line. It is this big ass line in here. It goes straight from one side to the other. What you do is you imagine that your horizon line is roughly in the same height as your character's head, as your character's fat head. So you throw in your bounding box more or less in the same height, while the top of your bounding box is at the same height as the horizon line, and you are probably in the ballpark for how high your character is supposed to be compared to the environment and whoever else might be there. It can be higher, it can be lower than the horizon line, but the horizon line is the height at which the eyes of the viewer is. Just throwing a little hot tip for you guys. So now that I have this going on, let's go back to this. Imagine that he came from here, so here is the little railing for the staircase from which he accessed the train station. It is not gonna be visible at all. So whatevs, man. I like to ponder a little bit about these things, especially because if I extend this perspective a little bit, I get to make it on the other side. So we now know people do access this train station from both sides, which is good. All sides is good. And Stu said it's busy and it's well done. Thank you so very much. And Sam, you're Bark. Welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? How was class? Hopefully nothing bad happened. So now, like I said, I have a bounding box for our character. So this is the middle of our bounding box, around the height his waist should be. He's very tilted. So that's slightly concerning, but let's not think too much about that. Let's think about how much fun young Nathan or Tiger Boy, Action Boy is having, or rather not having, by being there and pondering about the dreadful events that await for him back home. And now all we get to finally sketch him. Let's erase this bounding box a little bit. And now we turn to our common brush and start to sketch. Like crazy people. Oni, your internet crashed. Oh no. Hopefully it's back. And Sam, you're doing okay, almost got beat up again. They'll had to take a different path to go home. And Nathan says, yay, made a new shader. A more contrasting with background and more colorful than previous ones. Oh, that's awesome. I still have no earthly idea how you go around to making these shaders of yours, but it looks interesting nonetheless. And also, hey Orange, Soapstone, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? You say, what's up with me? What's up with me is that I'm doing this gigantic page. It has a lot going on. The first panel has a very busy background, like, holy shit, it's busy as fuck. And my fourth panel is even busier. So you see, it has a big ass train station there, there's buildings galore, it's a shitload of things going on. And I have a small character here to draw. That's what's up with me right now. I'm thinking of what pose to draw this character in, what sort of situation to make him being in. Because I'm gonna play safe and create a new layer that so I can freely sketch things out, not ruin the same sketch layer, although it changes nothing. But sure, let's go on with that. And Orange, you're feeling lucky. Oh my, why is that? Why, whatever reason would you have to feel lucky today? Maybe it's because it's a lucky holiday. I mean, lucky Wednesday. And everybody knows the lucky Wednesday is the days when you go crazy bananas and bet on all the things. Or not, you don't do that. Because certain kinds of betting are illegal, as you may know. So don't do that. So I don't think Nathan would be hunching over. I think he would be just standing upright-ish. And having his looking down at his phone and being like, oh shit. An Orange, luck to be a lady tonight. Ooh. Out. And congrats in any case. And Oni, you say more of an uneasy or confused pose for the character. Yes, that's the idea, yes. And Nathan, if you wanna know what shader is, you post a movie with explanations in media topic on Discord, please do that. I'd love to see it in action. Because I feel like these shaders you keep doing are like an inch away from being incredibly artistic in the sense of being able to replicate the comic book feeling of certain artists' art styles with this whole high contrast and bold outlines, or outlines at all, because 3D modeling normally don't have outlines. That's the whole point of 3D. And to have a shader that does that, but not only does add an outline, but also adds this whole high contrast and colors and whatnot. It looks pretty good. Oh, this is Nathan. Sad Nathan. Our tiger boy. Possibly looking down at his phone. And being like, damn, things are not going my way. Why today of all days? Don't you all feel like that? Every once in a while, like, things are going a-okay and then suddenly you get a phone call that ruins your day or even your life forever. Or at least it feels like it ruins your life forever. But in fact, nothing can ruin your life forever. Just for a long, long while, but not forever. Never forever. Let's stretch up the upper portion of his head a little bit, because for some reason I'm doing Nathan with a very short forehead as of late. It sucks. Nathan says, yeah, the shader is the key to all aesthetics of a game. And that is good. I mean, it is good that you do know how to make those. Because as you said, it's not just a bunch of configurations you set in a creator shader here kind of a screen. And it's not something that you visualize, it's something you have to program. And I find it really weird to think on how you can program things that are visual. I mean, throw in a bunch of code and make it behave visually in a different way. That is a concept in my head that has problems grasping. And also, Ben, hello everyone, you say, and I say hello to you. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? The Wednesday, which is the day of all days. It is the worst of days, it is the best of days. It is the middle of the week, it is the start of the week. It was a hot day, it was a cold day. Which is my dramatic reading or interpretation of Tale of Two Cities. Which is a book that has been recommended to me. I mean, it was recommended against to me because a friend who tried to read it said it was too convoluted. Did you know? And the writer, the author, one Charles Dickens, apparently made the book unbearably long by being super verbose about how he wrote, because apparently the man was paid by words, was not at all paid by book or pages or whatever. He was paid by words, so he tried to jam in as many words as possible into his books. So apparently his books are super verbose, and A Tale of Two Cities, despite being good according to critics or whoever, it is very verbose, and I don't doubt it, because I tried to read it once a long time ago. I couldn't get past the first page, but then again, it wasn't trying that hard. But I couldn't get past the first page because the book, and any of you who have ever tried to read the beginning of that knows how it goes, and you know it is not light reading, easy reading. I mean. Anyway, Nathan, you posted it. Sure, I will take a look later. But for now, let's see what else we have going on here. Sam, tomorrow will I start the stream 1 in the afternoon? Of course I will, that's my time. I mean, it's my new time, yes. I thought about doing late streams, but they were not really clicking for me, so I decided, fuck it. Let's do the early streams. They are more rushed in me getting prepared for them, but at least I'm done with them in early enough that I can go back to doing my doggish things before the sun goes down. In the end, it works out for me. And Nani, you say you was just thinking of some face that expression. I don't know if I should cry or never show your face again. What? But you were at work and can't draw furry things. Oh no. Do like I did and draw non-furry things at work. Because as you know, drawing furry things is not the only thing you can do with your spare time. So yeah, do try to, when you cannot draw furry things for whatever reason it might be, try drawing perspectives and buildings or cars. All those electronical and mechanical shit nobody can grasp very well because of how mechanical they are. A lot of people love drawing organic things but can't stand the sight of drawing mechanical things. Myself included, because cars can go suck a dick. In the sense that they are very, very, very weird for me to draw. And Ben says you're good, just working like always. Well, you guys spend so much time working. You should spend less time working and more time doing the things you want to do. Except for Bones, because Bones apparently wants to work. So we do Bones things. But the rest of you should do things you guys want to do. And of course work because it is a necessity, but still reserve enough time for you to do the cool things you want to do. Such as perhaps drawing furry things. Anyway, Oni says, plus working at an auto shop gives you the advantage of mechanical stuff. Oh yes, indeed, you have reference galore. So you do get on that. Get drawing some cars, some bikes. Get drawing some mechanical tools and pieces and everything else. So this is the problem of doing the shady grade legs with shoes. They don't work. How the flipping F you do this? Because I'm always on this borderline. It is degrade legs, but they're almost so very closely touching the ground. It's almost like it is touching the ground, but it isn't. It is actually floating. The heels are actually not touching the ground, but it is so very close that you could be fooled into thinking they are. It all culminates into a big effect. Anyway, Nathan, but working and do your hobby is the same thing. So hooray for you, who has a nice hobby. And even amazing your work. Not everybody's as lucky as you, so hooray for you, Nathan. And now a new layer, because I love creating new layers to make a cell phone holding hand for young Nathan here. By the way, I do love creating layers, but I do try to throw away layers I'm not using or merge them to other layers. That's so I don't have a shitload of layers in my final document, because you don't want that. You don't want to have too many layers. Or you do, I don't know. Depends on what you're going to do. Depends on your workflow as well. One thing I have learned about comic book coloring is that if you're not the final color artist, if you're going to color a comic and hand it off to somebody else, then sure, by all means, color every single body part in a different layer, because that's the way they do. But if you're the final artist, if you do everything, such as the penciling, the inking, and the coloring as well, there's no real reason for you to convolute your work by having a shitload of layers. So if you want to merge things, you can merge. If you don't want to merge things, then you don't merge. Nobody's going to tell you how to do your job, because you're the only one doing it. I think his head might be a tad too big. Shit, I managed to grab the wrong layer. This is the right layer. And now I keep correcting these little mistakes that show up when I change a little thing using these transform tools instead of redrawing things, such as the color being touched too big, not in the right place, yada yada yada. I keep correcting these things, such as the way of the illustrator. And now his hand holding the phone. Which doesn't need to be super complicated. And Nathan, you said it's the easiest way to workaholism. Because, well then, that is true in a way. You do work with your hobby, and your hobby is your work, so you're always doing that. So you're never not working, which is good. You're gonna become a specialist very soon, which is good because a specialist, they can rule. Nobody can come to a specialist and say they don't know jack, because the one thing they do know, they will know very well. However, there's a problem, quote unquote, that is you're always working. So do reserve yourself some recreational time. But then again, there are some people who are hardwired to I say there are some people who are hardwired to be kind of workaholics, so they can't indulge in recreational things because they do want to work all the time. And there are people who cannot focus on work because they are not at all hardwired to be very productive. Their minds work, their heads work in a way that does not allows them to focus. They have to keep getting a constant influx of varying stimuli. They can't always keep doing the same thing. And for them to do the same thing for long periods of time requires them to really like the shit out of the thing they're doing. In short, the kind of people who loves working and works all day is a myth, and they don't exist. Except that they do exist. But then again, if you are that one person, you are very lucky. If you are not that one person and you wanna create things on you, do creative work, well, you are in the shit. Just like me. Because focusing is hard, and getting the motivation to work is also hard. But anyway. But this is always the tipping point when I get to join these characters, is what the shit do I do with the other arm? Because I have the pose, I have the mood, I have the main arm doing the main thing it is required to do for the context of the activity, but the other arm, what the hell is it gonna be doing? But anyway, Studio said that that's not true. You're a fishmonger, been doing it for 13 years, people still tell you have no idea what you're doing. Maybe. Like I said, I may be wrong about all, if not every single thing I say. I may be wrong about the things I do, the things I say, and the things I keep telling you guys, as if I have the utmost authority in the world, and I'm the go-to person to get explanation on how to do things. I am talking about things with that kind of authority, but I don't know shit. So don't take my word for granted. Take my word and Google's words for granted if you have the time to indulge some little research. But anyway, Stu, you also said the other arm is having space adventures. Maybe. Let's see this thing Nathan sent in as a link. It is the tiger dude running around. It looks pretty good. I really like it. And this one has so much more color, it's really good. I do like these very bright highlights on the edges. It gives a lot of character to the whole shader and style. Stu, people who tell you you don't know nothing are the same people who don't eat fish very often, or something to that fashion. What do you mean? It's the people who don't eat fish constantly, and they have the nerve to go to you and say, hey, you don't know shit about cutting fish. Or whatever it is you do as a fishmonger, because I am not entirely sure on what a fishmonger is, aside from the obvious, that is somebody who mongs fish. I do imagine it is somebody who cuts, butchers fish and sells them, but I might be wrong. And Oni, you said, Jesus, your internet gods hate you, or they keep crashing your internet. Sorry to hear that, buddy, but if your internet crashes for too long, rest assured there are replays of these streams you can watch at your own leisure, whenever. So just take your sweet time, watch them, whenever. So the other arm, let me pose it myself, would be holding down the phone with my hand, and my other hand would be kind of hovering in the air near the phone, kind of is it gonna explode? Is it gonna spit juice? The shit is it gonna do? Kinda like this. I'm readying myself and my body for whatever this brings. For no apparent reason, it's just like, what do I do now? That's a kind of hand motion I imagine somebody who just got the worst of news is doing when they hang up their phones. You are hovering your hand near your phone, like, okay, things are, I need to do something to this thing I held in my hands. What is the thing I need to do to this thing? That's a kind of hand motion / hand expression I imagine this character to be doing. But as we have already established, I might be completely wrong about this. It does not look good, so let's tone down a little bit on the aggression in the hand. Let's just make it slightly less aggressive, a little bit more pensive and thoughtful, like, what the shit do I do now? I'm doing this. It works. It works amazingly well. What do you know? Something like this. It's like, okay, there's a phone. What do I do with this? I suppose I can use it to call people, although I have just been called on the same phone, and the result of said conversation was not pleasant, so what do I do with this? It's the kind of thoughts that are going through our character's head right now. As you go like, uh-oh. Okay. There we go, we have a little character, we have a little background, we have a lot of little happy things. And Nathan asks, is someone who feels fish? As two people come up to you and in conversation bring up that they don't have fish often. Then when they don't get what they want, they tell me you know nothing. Also, fishmonger is someone who cuts up fish, yes. Aha. Got it. And Oni says, but I want to learn from the Master Chapel, and the internet gods won't stop you from learning. Then don't let them. your angry finger at the internet gods and say, "Hi, demand, good connection." Might not work, but it is worth trying, I think. Anyway, now that we are done with the character sketch, I could make this sprawling city look busy by adding people to the streets, which is always good if we want to have the feeling that this is a busy city center or whatever. But you know, I'm too lazy to do that, so I will look on my off time at unconventional means of adding people to the scenes, through which I will possibly rely on cheating, straight up cheating. By which I actually mean I'm gonna possibly go get a 3D model pose characters in these scenes and then trace over the 3D models instead of drawing the little fox by hand. But this is it pretty much for today. I have sketched up today's page, the character and the background, which is a new thing for me, and I suppose for you guys too, because I never did the background. And now there's just more refining to do, adding more shit to the background to make it pop out and look good, or good there, because it's already looking pretty rad compared to the usual shit I do. And aside from that, yeah, maybe add some more people in this scenario here, that so it looks like a busy train station rather than an empty well, an empty ghost town in the scenario. And this is the really annoying part about backgrounds, is that your backgrounds cannot by any means be just a bunch of boxes and cylinders and geometrical shapes. You have to start adding some depth and something to them. So say the side here of this train station is going to be glass panels because they're fancy, and this train station is very fancy, so let's give it the fancy. And then you have to go around and do this with everything else. Go about throwing in details, go about throwing in more little nooks and crannies to make this whole scenario seem believable. And that's it. That is gonna be my work for the next couple of days. Inside the streams or outside the streams, I don't even know. Because like I said, tomorrow House Flippers is releasing, and I very, very, very much want to play that game. Possibly on the stream. And I also have other shit to do. Namely commissions. Anyway, I will keep doing all this in a later time. But for today, I think that this is it, everybody. Like I said, I have done a lot of background work today, and not so much character sketching work as I normally do, because this last page of Call Me Father is more character centric, but I also wanna denotate where this whole thing is taking place. It's not taking place in small little Penningen anymore. It's taking place in a big capital city, so it has to feel big, and no better way to make it feel big than to throw in a shitload of buildings and a lot of people in the streets. Sam asks, oh, it is time for us to say our lonely goodbyes. Yes, it is. Not lonely, just little goodbyes though. But before everybody goes, there's a little few things I'd like to say. This is, like I said, this is the last page for my comic, the Call Me Father comic, which is part of my Nathan Wright series, and it's pretty swell. So you guys should go give it a read. There's some links down below, you can check it out for free. It does not cost a single dime to read my comics, but this page is a Patreon exclusive, so it'll be available for patrons for the next 7 weeks. Then it is coming free. So in short, the people who are my patrons or get to read the pages ahead of time, unlike the people who are reading them for free. And not only that, but there's a link down below to my Patreon, to my Twitter, in case you guys want to see my other things. I don't do many other things nowadays, but there are other things there. You guys can go and take a look. There's also a link to my Tumblr and a link to the Discord channel. You guys can join in and we can chat and discuss all the things, including art, if you'd like. And Good Boy Bot was just kind enough to throw in a link in the chat. Stu says goodbye, Olden. Sam says I see you. Well, farewell to you all. May your hearts be safe. And Nathan says, so take care, dog. I will take care, and I will have a lot of fun. I will try at least. But in any case, there's links down below you guys can check out. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you so very much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this very, very weird comic book page. Nipter says goodbye to you too, Nipter and Clone. So Max says see you later, man. We'll hope later. Sure thing. And that's all the announcements I had to do. And now it's time to say our lonely goodbyes. But before that, I'd like to point you guys to an awesome Pepperino called Big Bad Wolf for Life. He's playing some Assassin's Creed Origins, and it's it's an old game now because it's been out for months, but it's pretty good, and he's a very swell dude, so go give him a hi, because he deserves it. And other than that, I'll be seeing you guys later. See y'all, Pepperinos, have fun and stay awesome. Bye bye.